Helldivers, it is time for another Galactic War update, and things, they're going quite well. Check this out. Oh, baby. So what we've got is the order overview. Fenrir 3 and Turing have been activated, or liberated, I guess you could say. But basically what's happened is the activation of the Terminid control towers is a thing on these worlds. So the termicide is spreading and hopefully doing its work. It's not doing its work, is it? This is what we all know, I think. And Turing, yeah, that's liberated, or, well, termicide is spread. Meridia, though, look at this. It's almost fully installed on Meridia. Now, the major order itself, it ends in 4 days and 1 hour. This is a massively fast completion by the community. This is insane. And I think you can see it actually in action. Look at this. There's 21,000 divers on this planet. That's okay. But the majority of divers here at the moment, 75,000, are actually over on Meridia. Basically, just go onto the planet with the most Helldivers, and that will actually progress the major order as fast as possible. Like I always say, though, if you want to just play on Errata Prime, go over there, because, I mean, you're going to get involved in fire tornadoes. And if I've got to be totally honest, I do think I prefer Errata Prime over Meridia, because Meridia, the jungle, can be quite hard to find enemies and spot them in a distance, whereas this, there's just massive sight lines, and it's probably a bit easier for my old man hands. But yeah, this is great news. The question is, what's going to happen? But guess what? Joel has been active, and Joel throws this into the works, a defend mission. So Heath is actually under attack by the Terminids, which is interesting, isn't it, really? So the 66,000 Helldivers here, and it looks like this has actually worked in deflecting the community a bit, because suddenly the community is like, oh my god, we need to get over here and defend this planet, instead of actually completing the major order. So there's still 75,000 there, but look, there's 66,000 there. There could potentially be over 140,000 on this planet if they were all together, which they're not. So yeah, this is, I think, a deflection tactic by Joel. We're going to have to wait and see, but I'm pretty sure both of these will get completed. I mean, this planet looks like it's almost sorted. The defend campaign, yeah, it looks like we'll probably hold that planet, hopefully. But, I mean, why not spice it up when you go out there tonight, today, or whenever you get onto Helldivers? Why not do a few missions on Meridia and then jump over to Heath and maybe throw in a bit of Errata Prime? But the question does remain, ladies and gentlemen, where are we going from this? What's going to happen? What is going to happen? Will the Terminids be killed? No, they won't. Leave your comments below. I want some wild speculation. Where do you think this story is going to go? It's so cool. It's absolutely awesome. Okay, this is sending me crazy. It's actually sending me wild. Do not airstrike or use explosive stratagems next to the silos on the Terminid control tower missions. Do not throw your grenades at the goddamn towers. Do not fire rockets at them. Do not fire autocannons next to them. Definitely do not take the mortar sentry, because that thing just absolutely blows up the goddamn tower, because you will end up with loads of bugs all around the base of the tower. Friendly fire explosive damage will reset the progress on the silos. I'm still getting in missions that do this, and it's driving me crazy. So just don't do it. Don't do it. Do not do it. And also, just do one tower at a time. I've been in groups where people will run after different towers, and it's just a disaster. Just do one tower at a time. Let's get in and get out. These missions are nearly over. So yeah, just don't blow up your own silo, people. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are really, really confused, but also are feeling really refreshed. By the way, Helldivers is actually giving us a live service game in the true sense of that phrase. Not a game that is just simply dropping seasonal updates that are in fact tied to real world events. Because what is that actually doing? You know, is that really a truly live game? It's just a game that's got frequent updates, right? And I think a lot of modern AAA games in this day and age, they all default into this system where they've got a certain seasonal cadence. So every couple of weeks, or maybe even couple of months, they update the game in some capacity. There might be every, let's say, 2 or 3 weeks, there's a minor update. And then every 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks, there is a bigger update, which brings more content to the game. And that's the way those games run. You know when the updates are coming out. But the big thing with that kind of approach is you can get burnt out, because you know when the updates are coming, right? You know, okay, let's take Overwatch as an example, Apex Legends, you know, insert any other real big major AAA live service game. But I guess let's just keep it focused on those two. They'll have an update which will be a Valentine's Day update, or they'll have like a Christmas update. Well, you know those things are coming, but if you've got particularly no interest in that, then you're probably not going to take part in that event. Also, it's kind of like you know what's coming in the future. This is where Helldivers is radically different, and I think the key word here, I sound a bit like I'm going over the top here, but the more I think about this, the more I think this is relevant. The key word here is culture. This game is generating its own specific user culture, and that is coming directly from the way it is treated as a truly live service game. That means there is a story that is unfolding. We have a direct impact on how fast or how slow that story goes forward, or even goes backwards, I guess, with how we take part in the Galactic War. Things are not on a set timetable. It isn't just like, oh, it's Valentine's Day, time to do an update. Oh, it's Christmas, time to do an update. Oh, it's Easter, let's have an update. There's none of that. It's just happening organically in the game. When new content is added to the game, look at the Walker that got added recently. It wasn't just added to the game. Now, if this was any other AAA game, it would be, oh, it's a new hero. It's just added to Overwatch. Go and deal with it. Oh, it's a new operator in Call of Duty added to the game. Oh, it's a new legend in Apex Legends added to the game. It's like bang, bang, bang. These things just get added into the game, and that's like, yeah, there's a big marketing beat leading up to that. There'll be a fancy trailer. There'll be a load of paid social media stuff. There'll be a load of paid adverts. There might even be sponsored videos out for, but like by YouTubers and whatever and streamers. And then the thing drops. Helldivers though go, here's an update, but actually we're going to deliver the update to you in an in-world, in-game live service storytelling way. Look at the mechs. The mechs come into the game. There is random mechs showing up at various points throughout the game. It's incredible, right? Like, did Joel add them to the game? Joel being the game master? Or were they people hacking the game somehow to get access to them? Who really knew? But then we got a major order, which came out and said the bots are actually attacking the planet where the walkers are being made. Get over to that planet, defend the planet, then we'll have access to the arsenal of the walkers for deployment. We go over and do that. We complete it super fast. And as soon as it's finished, we are given access to the mechs. There isn't no timeline. It isn't like, oh, hang on, this has to finish on a Tuesday. Oh, wait, the community are actually doing it quicker, so we can't give them the mechs. It's like, no, they've completed it on a Sunday. Give them the mechs on a Sunday. It's so good. It's so dynamic, and it makes us feel like we're taking part in this galactic story, this big overarching story, and actually we're unlocking the content that then we get to play. And this gives us an affinity to that content. This builds a community. This builds a culture. It's just incredible. It's actually incredible. As a live service game, Helldivers 2 is going to be one of those things we'll look back on in the future and go, they changed the way live service games are done. Now, and I'm not going over the top here, I don't think, guys. I think this is literally fact, and it's one of the reasons why we're just like falling in love with this game. So let's take a look at what the community manager actually says, because this is like expanded upon. So Baskinator says, yes, it's really intended to keep the game exciting and keep the never-ending war engaging for players. Helldivers 2 is going to run for a long time. We'd love to see it go for many years, and that means we need something more than just a calendar with automated events tied to major holidays. That's what I see in other live service games. Now, that is taking a bit of a dig there at other live service games, but it's fair enough. You know, they all do the same thing. It's just the tried and tested thing. When we talk about culture, again, this is like, sounds like I'm going over the top here talking about culture, but I think this is the best way of describing it. Think about, okay, let's just use Overwatch as an example, right? Think about what Overwatch has been doing recently. Overwatch does these massive collaborations with these massive brands. They are essentially leeching their culture, their relevance, to make them feel or appear more relevant in the wider scheme of things. And also, they're using a different brand to promote their brand to increase their sales. They're not actually promoting their brand. Now, I don't want to keep talking about Overwatch in this video. I seem to be talking about it quite a lot. But back in the past, Overwatch and the original development team were very against that. They wanted to build their own thing. They wanted their game to be their own thing. They didn't want it diluted by outside brands and all that kind of thing coming on board. That's obviously happening now with Overwatch 2. And the simple reason is because Overwatch itself has lost some element of cultural relevancy, which means it loses an element of player base. So the way to get that back and make almost like a quick buck is to partner with these other brands that people know and people love. At the moment, you've got Cowboy Bebop. I'm not a fan of that. I've not watched it, so that's why I'm not a fan. Maybe if I watched it, I would be a fan. But there's a lot of people that are a fan of that, so they are going to spend money in the game to buy the skins that make the characters look like them in the game. The thing is, Helldivers is completely the opposite to that approach. Helldivers, it doesn't depend on using other IPs in the game. Like, there isn't like a straight up slap in the face of like, guess what? A Helldivers crossover with The Boys, which is what you'll see in Call of Duty, for example, right? I think you could play as like Homelander and things like that. It's like, okay, what the hell? That might make me as a Boys fan go, oh, I want to try Call of Duty, and I guess that's what they're going for. Helldivers, though, is a completely different approach, right? Yes, I know there are elements of Helldivers itself, which is taken from other popular cultures, things like Alien, Starship Troopers, Terminator, and stuff like that. But it's more done in a way like it's a cheeky slap in the face kind of way. It's a fun way. So it's just cool, right? However, this is where we get down to the nitty-gritty of this game. The genius of this game is the fact it is building its own culture. It is building stories from within the game. It is then causing people to produce social media content, viral TikToks, and all of that stuff of their moments of, like, I don't know, moments of dread, moments of victory, moments of struggle, crazy things that have happened. I'm starting to see memes emerge from Helldivers 2 that are just, like, intrinsic to the community, that only the community would understand. The community, though, is very welcoming because of the way the game's designed. The game is a co-op game. You need to work together to complete objectives. Even things like emotes where you can hug each other. They're all things that add to the game, that make the sense of community, of culture stronger, and this makes you want to invest more time into the game. And I think that's the key critical thing here. You become invested in the game. Baskinate is also back and says this: I agree on more information. This was a very big experiment for the studio, really, and it's something that a video game has never done before. I would love to see the GM's decisions roll into the overall narrative world building of the game. To me, this makes it feel more like a real war with real stakes, even though it's just a video game. Now, of course, this is in reference to Joel, the game master, making these decisions to reinforce planets, to attack other planets, to give us sort of different takes on the major order. Even though there is this overarching story we are going through, which is structured, things can change within that story. And you as a player, you feel like you are impacting that story, you're influencing that story, you're changing the direction of that story. And I've got to be honest, I could just wax lyrical about this forever and ever, but it is such a good way of doing a live service game, because I have felt the rush of when that tweet comes through and it's a new major order update. I'm like, oh my god, the first thing I do is log on to the game. That is such an awesome feeling. It's like you're there at the moment this thing has happened, the news is breaking, bang, and I'm in it, let's go. As opposed to the way other games treat live service, where it's like a big build-up to an update. You know the update's coming, the update's out, okay, let's go on and take a look at the update. It isn't this like organic rush to the game. And this is a testament to the retention rate of players in this game. Helldivers 2 is retaining a ton of its player base after launch. And in fact, Helldivers 2's sales are increasing. And I think, again, that is straight up down to the fact that they've got this awesome live service. Okay, the game's also great as well, right? The game plays really well, it's really fun. But they've got this live service model, which is making you want to come back to look at the game. They're not trying to like nickel and dime you. They're not going, oh, this is the latest update, you need to buy this, you need to do that, blah, blah, blah. There's none of that. It's just like, this is the story's development, what's going to happen next? And we already know, like, as players of the game, the next story beat, yeah, we're going to activate the Terminid control system. That's going to spray termicide across the barrier planets. Is that going to kill all the Terminids on those planets and protect us? And that's the end of the Terminids? I don't think so. But the question is, how's that story going to develop? Where's it going to go? Will the Terminids have some sort of ridiculous mutation? Will the termicide not work? Will it actually kill the humans? You know, what was it, just a massive psyop by Super Earth and we've all been tricked and it's a trap? Who knows, right? It's so cool. And to get into that way of thinking, get into that mentality of that with this game, I think it's just incredible. It's so good. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching the video. Yeah, as you can tell, I'm really enjoying this game. I'm going to keep playing Helldivers 2. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.